Hi everyone and welcome to Rage Print. I'm Andy and this is episode 3 of my Vonjet Hamster build. This episode's been about 3 months in the making. Basically I kind of lost heart when I got to sort of early December. It's now the 14th of January and I've basically done nothing since the 8th of December on BB8. And I kind of left it in that state. I kind of got a bit disheartened. I've taken a break from it. Just left it over Christmas, but it now means I've got 11 weeks to get BB8 ready for celebration. Yeah, so as I said, this episode is about 3 months in the making. I was hoping to have it all done and have a rolling ball with the head on, well, at least have the rolling ball by the end of this episode. Obviously things haven't panned out that way, so this is a kind of a part 1. So yeah, it'll kind of sort of abruptly stop. Yeah, so you'll see how I get on with building the sphere up to the point. And to be fair, yeah, there's not that much left really. It's just getting that motivation to carry on going. So yeah, join me and see how I get on. Today on building BB8, try and remember which heat set inserts are for which bit.
Big ones for hubs.
Big ones for hubs.
Big ones for hubs. Little
Big
ones
ones
for
for Big ones for hubs.
Little
Ones for circles.
Little ones for circles.
Little ones for circles.
You said that before filming it. I just told you.
Possibly, but and then these ones are the. If we get some focus. Focus, damn you!
Oh my god.
These are the ones I tried ordering from Amazon, hoping they would be the right ones. So tonight's plan. John's going to try and fix one of his circle triangles. Try again. John's going to try and fix one of his triangles.
Definitely not circle triangles.
Well, it's a circle and a triangle. And some sort of crazy plan involving that.
I freed it.
Potentially having to now do another one with the crazy plan involving a brass washer. Me, on the other hand, I have to do everything that involves. I've got to put these in, and I've got to put all these in on my circles.
For reference, these are called Vonka bars.
They are called Vonka bars. I refuse to call them Vonka bars, other than those 2 times. Don't know why, just sounds wrong.
Because it sounds like Wonka bars and you think you're going to win a trip to a chocolate factory.
Yes, and not. So these are all my other cut aluminium bars. So yeah, that's the plan this evening. So sorry about the background noise you're going to hear in these segments. We are printing other robot bits for various other projects that we won't talk about, and oh yeah, and we have I like to make stuff on in the background. Always a good thing to have. Oh, hang on.
This is a resin printed lava piece that we I did with a clear resin just because I wanted to experiment what it looked like. And I've now gone and printed all the chopper ladder lights in that resin.
Looks like tunes to me, but there you go. So yeah, yeah. So the noise is basically we're in a proper workshop. We'll get on with that. Right, so I'm about to start putting in the heat set inserts into the circles, and I've got one of these tips for my soldering iron to look like that. Basically, it's a way of keeping it level, so it's not plugged in at the moment, but essentially you just can't do this one-handed either. Essentially just heat it up and then push down, and that'll keep it a nice even pressure all the way around and all the way through as well. So I've got quite a lot to do per circle. There's quite a lot of circles. And I've never done this before. John has, so he's down there and just dropped one of the. I just dropped one of them. So yeah, it's not exactly anything I can practice with other than just do it. So I'll get on with it. So here's John's crazy idea to hold the circle panel in place. Just a glass bowl that he's entrusted me with, and the rubber ring off one of his Stormtrooper helmets. So we're not chopping it, that's why it's not cut to size. And the idea being that the rubber will hold the circle in place which it does. And then that will give me the grip I need to be able to just push down on there and hopefully not have the whole thing go whee straight into that. So let's try it. So John, while I'm doing the heat set inserts, is putting the aluminium bars into the Vonka bars, then whatever, into the triangles, and then trying to force the triangles together.
Not forcing,
Wiggling gently, but with a lot of strength behind it. Yeah, so some of them will need sanding out, and then he's following the pattern that we've got on there, so we know which triangle goes in which sort of orientation. And over here, I've done 3. It's taking me about 5 minutes between all the talking. It's 16. What was it? 16 per circle.
16 per circle, 84 total.
Yeah, 84 total. So might be a while. All right. So these are the Vonka bars in position. Yes, I just call them Vonka bars. You can see the holes there. So you can sort of see what's going on here. They're lining up, get pushed in about halfway. They line up with these screw holes, and then the 2 panels get pushed together, and then they get screwed in. So if you can sort of see how they go together, and then this will be made into 2 halves, so 2 hemispheres of the ball, and then they just get clamped together. So say like that's the edge of the half, the other half be clamped on top and then screwed in at the top. So that's what John's working on at the moment. We're finding that some of these pockets here need sanding out, and there's like a little bit of layer shift, sort of just above. I won't be able to do this very well with my holding it, but there's a bit of a layer shift just above where my thumb is. That's creating a bulge, stopping the aluminium bar going in. So yeah, that's what we're working on at the moment. And then update on where I am. I've done 1 circle and about halfway through the other circle, and in a second I'll show you how I'm doing it. So as you can see, I've got this, and should theoretically keep it nice and straight. And you don't push, you just very gently let it heat up. And it slowly starts to sink in. And then I'll just do that. And that should feel flat, and it does. So all those feel flat, feels level, and then that's how you do it. So just starting on panel number 3, and this is one of the hatch panels. So these are the normal Vonjet heat insets there, and then on this side there'll be the slightly bigger heat insets. And in the hatch panel, just want it off. So the hatch panel goes in like that.
So we've had a problem with a couple of BB8 panels start again. We've had a problem on a couple of BB8 panels that are from my BB8, where the screws essentially pulled the plastic through because they're over tightened, and it's left a giant gaping empty hole. These are the normal holes. That's the giant gaping one.
That's a bit bigger.
So what we're looking to do to solve it is we're going to take the little M3 brass washers in the bowl and place one above it sink it down using the heat set pusher into the plastic, and then once done we'll top coat it with a bit of resin and or 3D printed pen plastic just to give it a bit behind it to hold it in. By resin I mean epoxy resin, so glue, and that should then hold it. Yes, we give it a go.
Yep.
I'll hold it, you burn it.
Yeah, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this on camera because it's quite tight space, so... What's the ability to pick up brass rod? Right.
It just works.
It just works! Right, so you can see there we've got the brass washer on the top. Without burning people's fingers. Oh. Probably should swap to the bigger heat set insert pusher.
And this is a two-man job unless you've got something that can hold the panel perfectly in place so it's horizontal.
There we go.
And that's got enough sufficient amount of plastic behind it.
Yeah,
That
sure.
It's not going to come. It's got a sufficient amount of plastic behind it. It's not going to come through. But all the pressure is on this end, so that's where we're going to stick the epoxy glue just to fill that up, and then I'll re-drill the hole if it requires it.
Okay, I was going to say, is that shifted a bit?
It's fine. It's brass. It's drillable.
True. Yeah, so that's how you fix a Vonjet panel. If you've managed to pull out the circle infill line, circle wall lines. So, yeah. So, as you can see here, we've decided to try dry fitting the, which circle did we say this was? 1F?
One I call bow tie and you call something else.
Fish, yeah. Because you've got the tail there and there's the fish, but actually likewise, you know, it could be the bow tie. Anyway, so we dry fitted it to the bottom of the 4 triangles we put together, and dry fit wise it worked quite well, didn't it?
Yep, it's gone in, it's pressure fit. There's a slight pull out, but that'll get pulled in by the screws, it'll remain in tension. Obviously the Vonjet triangle panels need to be pulled together with screws as well.
Yeah.
If anything, it might be a minor sand and that's it.
Yeah. So we're quite pleased with that. It does look like I'm going to have to reprint 2 of those 2 black triangles there. Turns out the pockets for the Vonka bars are too narrow.
Only on the ones that were printed on the sides of the print.
Yeah, so it's either a case of spending ages sanding them out or spend just as much time printing a new one. So just print a new one. At least I can print them white. And yeah, we're getting there. So I've done 3 of these circles now. So obviously the one that's in the sphere and 2 there, and there's another 3 left to go. And the camera's decided it's going to go where it wants to go. So we've actually made really good progress tonight. We fixed John's Vonjet panels. Oh yeah. Dave, if you watched this video, what the hell were they for? We can't remember. But they were sent by you. So, unless you sent them to me by mistake. Yeah, so we made really good progress. Probably going to leave it there for tonight, and then I'll carry on with the rest of the heating sets myself at home. And then we've got two more Vonjet spheres to do.
Two where we've got to pull in the bars and check the bars go together and do the heat set inserts.
Yeah.
Project Fish and my hamster. So, and then there's the one in there that's all ready that just needs a sand and maybe a reprint of one triangle panel that seems to have split.
But at the speed we're printing to be able to print now, that's not going to take us long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I say, we've made good progress. I was pretty terrified about putting these heat set inserts in, and actually they've been quite easy, relatively, compared to most things. So yeah, we'll plod on. Right, as you can see here, I'm back at home and I've got hold of a white ceramic bowl, and I couldn't find any rubber strip like we used at Ceramic John, so I just got this. It's just a bit of netting. It's incidentally the material I use for the inside of R2's vents, and then just sat it on top, so it's a bit slippy, but it's not too slippy. And I've got my heatset inserts. I'm slightly concerned that's not quite enough inserts to do 3 more. Yeah, to do 3 more circles. But we'll see how we get on. Actually, turn my soldering iron back on. So yeah, we'll just let this heat up, and then I think we'll do this in a time lapse. So I'll just go around and just start adding them in. And so I've got 3 more circles to do. Yeah, so once the soldering iron is heated up, that's what we'll get on and do. Let's just in case you haven't worked out now, where I've been counting, I am 5 heat insets short, which is really annoying because I can only get these heat set inserts from McMaster-Carr in America. I'm in the UK. McMaster-Carr do not deliver to America. Better to the UK. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might have to ask around to see if anybody's got 5 spare inserts, because I think they come in packs of 100. I'm not sure why I have some missing. My other option is I did try ordering some off Amazon that were roughly the same size. You can see them here. They're a bit too long, so I might have to sort of slice the bottom off slightly to make them. Although John is telling me something now. You can see here how short that is, and compared to how long they are. If it's not really in focus, is it? These are just very, very slightly longer, so I could just chop the end off, and they should just be about the right size. But I'll see what John's saying, and then we'll see what happens. I am 5 short. I've asked around to see if anybody's got any spare ones. Probably not very likely, to be honest. My only other resort is to use the wrong sized ones that I got off Amazon. As you saw me trying, they're slightly too sort of small in diameter, and they're too long. I can cut the length off. However, the diameter could be a problem because they're just going to slip in. There's nothing to sort of grip onto. So while I think about that, what I am going to do is on here I'll put the heat set inserts. Put it in camera shot. Put the heat set inserts in here. These are the M4 ones, so they're slightly bigger. And then I'll get the other hatch panel out and do the same one as well. And then yeah, we'll work from there. So these are right. Let me step back a bit. So a Vonjet sphere has M3 heat set inserts from McMaster-Carr. As I've mentioned several times, they are a pain to get hold of in the UK. Several people tried finding some alternatives, including myself. Tried Amazon. They say they're the right size and they're not. Regardless, so I'm going to ignore these 5. Now, the difference between a hamster and a normal Vonjet is the fact that on a axle-driven Vonjet, a circle panel like this would be a twist lock. So you twist the whole thing and lift off, which is probably why I'm 5 short, because there would be plungers in random circle panels to send power around to do the lights. Not an option on the hamster drive, so they're all heat set inserts. I think that's why I'm 5 short. Instead of the twist lock, we have these hatches here, and it's very simple. It's just take that out. It's just a circle panel, and once that's lined up, line up. That far off. Right, once it's lined up, there's just 4 screws there. Undo those screws and then it should pop off. Should be an operative word. Yeah, so effectively I need to put 4 heat set inserts in here, and they are M7. Say again. They are M4 with a 0.7mm thread, and they're 4.7mm in length. So yeah. Essentially, they're more or less the same dimensions as the M3 ones, just M4. And I have loads of these. So if I could get away with it, I only need 8. If I get away with it, I could use 5 of these, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So anyway, my next step is to put the heatset inserts in here. Now my question is, which way round? I'm assuming this way round. So I push from the top of the sphere in. Yeah, because the screw's going to go in that way. If I come from the bottom up. Okay, yeah, so I'll push down this way. It's going to be the same procedure. It's going to be just gently pressing with the heat. And then hopefully it should just slide in. Hopefully. I wonder how proud can I leave this? No, I can't leave it proud at all. It has to lie flat. Okay, so let's... There's only one thing to do, is try it. Really? Get it lined up. Okay. I'm glad there's only 8 of these. If I push that through, I need to try and keep it level with the top. Like that. Use my aluminium bar to just make sure it doesn't come back and sit proud. And also make sure it stays flat to the piece that I pushed it into. And if I turn it over, there's a bit of blow through there, as in plastic, but that's sandable. The heat set insert itself has not pushed through. Do you know what? I think they're actually supposed to go through the other side. I think they're supposed to go through the other side. I don't suppose it really matters, but it looks like it's actually supposed... There's the hole slightly bigger this side. So maybe it is supposed to go from the bottom up. But then I'm going to get the plastic pushing through up this way. I think this side's more important to stay clear because that's where the screw's coming from. So it's easier to clean underneath here. In fact, I could probably just snip that off. There we go, there's the heat set insert. It is level with the... Yeah. It's level with the... slightly below, which is fine. Alright, I'll carry on doing the rest, pushing from the top. I suspect it's actually supposed to be this way around. But as there are no proper instructions yet, these pretty much are the instructions. Yeah, you see me making the instructions as we go along. So yeah, I'll do the rest of these and then we'll pick it up in a minute. A bit too fast and it nearly came through the other side. So you can see here there's now no blow through. It's I've had to push it flat to the base. I'm not sure how much that's going to affect it, but we'll see. I can always drill that bit out slightly. But on with the rest. Four down, 4 to go. Right, something I've noticed doing these is because this material is a lot thinner and you're putting heat right on the edge, it can make it very wobbly. So if you're not careful, you can actually deform this piece just by the heat of the soldering iron going in. You'll also notice that I just glued this bit back together. Back together. I noticed it had broken along here and it was starting to get worse, so I've just preemptively glued it back together. I'll come back and put that heatset insert in another time, probably when I do the other side of the other panel. I'll just let that dry fully. I don't want to put pressure on it with the heat and then make it worse, so I'll let that dry fully. But I'll do these two, and then I think we'll call it I'm going to call it a night until I know what I'm doing with the other 5 inserts. Right, so I'm going to reiterate this again. This bit is incredibly delicate. If you heat this up too much, it will just sink right through. If you don't heat up enough, it's going to start wobbling on top. And as you can see with the last one, I was actually messing around. Well, it might have been slightly off camera when I was doing it. But basically this insert had slipped this way. So I had to push it back while it's still molten back the other way. I'm hoping I'm not too far off. To be fair, they all look a bit like that. Maybe they're all off. That's worrying. Let me just check that. Which one's this? Top. If you want to know how I know which one's the top, there's a little arrow there. It's number 5 in an arrow. And the inside of here, there's a little arrow there, so you know that that goes there. So if I look here, so that one's all right. That one's okay. That one is very slightly. Actually, no, that's fine. It is fine. Okay. So I'm going to leave that and let this bit fully dry, and then yeah, work out what I'm going to do about the other heat set insert. So 9.5 short. Not much I can do about it really. Just check these ones. Yeah, they're all fine. So it does feel like it's not quite level. Are these pushed up? No, they're not raised, so maybe it just needs cleaning under here. Yeah, probably just needs cleaning under there. That should get it to sit more flush. Yeah, so 5 of those inserts, come back and do the other one of those, and then we can look at the other triangles, and then we should be ready to start putting the ball together. Okay, so while I wait for the extra heating sets to turn up, I'm just going to start putting the bottom half of this together. As you saw already on in the video, John's already started putting the these bits in. So these are ready to take the other half on top. Zoom up a bit. So now I'm going to be putting screws into. There's one you can see. So you see these holes here. So where somebody can see. Here we go. You can see where the screw holes go in here. And using these screws here, they're M4 by 5 hex bolt, countersunk with a flat head. As you can see here, I've already done those 8, and as I screwed them together, it pushes the panels together. So hopefully, should mean that once I've done these remaining 3, this should be quite ready, and I should be able to then put the the bottom panel on. I might even start putting these panels on as well, so that when the top goes on, all I've got to do is just do like the ring of screws round, you know, on the top bit, and then the screws here as well. I'll see, but I'll get the bottom panel on as well. So I'll just do these screws, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to start on the outside of one half, just loosely, and then the catches the outside of the other half. That was on the catch. The screw wasn't going in. And I remember what you need to do. You basically insert the Allen key in there and just push the bar along so the holes line up. So now hopefully I do this. Nope. Okay, now let's take this one out and then move that one along. So just like this. If it moves. So let's put this side in first. That's not going in right. So this side's lined up. That side's not quite lined up. Let's try that again. There we go. So as you can see, I've got that side in. It's not. It's hard to move that one, but it's not tight in. And then that's not tight either. It's just basically the last tighten when all the screws are in. Down this side. So same thing's happening here. I think the problem I'm having here is where the pocket's not been sanded out enough, so it's not loose enough to move. That one's going in better. Okay, so there's and putting these all in now before tightening should pull the two pieces of the panel together, get the holes to line up properly. So now I can start tightening. Conscious of the fact I don't snap the Allen key, or do that and round the bolt out. So I don't know if you noticed when I started there was a bit of a gap there. That gap's now gone. There we go. I think that should be fine. That one's still slightly raised above the rest of them. I don't think it mattered too much. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much because the wheels are fairly big, so it's not like it's going to get caught in that tiny little bit. So yeah, that's effectively what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these two sides and then I'll cut back and show you. Okay, so typically the one I did to camera was the problem one, which I suppose was actually a good thing because I could show you where you could have issues. The other three were fine. So now I'm looking at putting the circle panel at the bottom. Probably won't be able to see it, but panel 2, panel 5, which means that is 6 and 1. If we're looking at it, so I don't know if you see it on the screen. Not very clear, is it? It's not the focus, is it? So basically, 6, 5, 1, 2. So 2. So it'd be 6, 5, 1, 2. If I turn it up that way and do that, right, 5. So we go. So that's now following. There we go. Following on here, that's now 2, 5, 1, 6, which matches on there. 2, 5, 1, 6. So this is the top. This is the top of BB8, and the panel that goes in here, which we mentioned earlier when we were doing a test fit around at John's, is the one that looks like a fish or a bow tie. I'm going to go fish. So if I mark these ones, so 2, 2, 5, 1, 6, which means I now need the one that looks like a fish. You know, this is one of the white ones. Okay, it's this one. You can tell it's got the 2 LEDs here. So according to this diagram, if this is 5, then the 2 LEDs should be roughly in line with this join mark here. So it should go on. Should go on. Let's try pushing it down that way. Line up. Yeah, so I just need to actually get the panel in. Hopefully it's going to play ball. I should loosen off the bolts slightly, tighten it up with it in. very little give in this, so I'm going to pause the video and probably hit it quite heavily. That was entertaining. What I ended up having to do is actually loosen a lot of these screws, all bar one, the one I actually had trouble screwing up on the camera. Just loosen them very slightly, just so it pulled apart. I could click this in and then tighten it all back up, and I've made sure that all the holes line up. Incidentally, this one is called 4T, the panel number. So we've got 6, 1, 2, 5 and 4T. So now what I do is put the screws around here, which are these ones. They are M3x6 button screws, button-headed screws. So they look like that. Now these came from a Mastercar as well. So even though they say M3x6mm, they don't actually use an M-sized. No, saying that, I'm saying they don't actually use an M-sized Allen key, but they do. So all I do now is just, hopefully, all I need to do now is just screw that in. I have a quick read of the instructions to make sure there's no specific order in doing it. I'm fairly sure it's just work the way around. It doesn't appear to be tightening up at all. It's out again. Should tighten up now. The screws popped up a bit, so this should tighten up now. Oh, that's a horrible noise. There you go, I just felt it click. Probably heard it click as well. Yeah, I can feel it tightening up now. So yeah, all I do is just put those button head screws all the way around here, and that's that panel in. And then what I can actually do is I could actually check to see, I could put the drive in and make sure that these the forward and back wheels, that the stabilizer wheels sort of hit here, and I can sort of gauge it's roughly the right size, and put the drive wheels, spin it around, put the drive wheels, make sure it's okay. Yeah, let me put the rest of these screws in. I'll just double check there's not a specific order for doing it. I don't think there is. What I might do is I might actually go 2, 2, 2, 2, and then go 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, so it's constantly pulling it in on each side. Let me just double check the instructions, and then I'll get back to you. No, there is no specific order, just don't over tighten. So I don't think I've tightened those too much. They're not to the point where it's I can't tighten it anymore. But I think I will go 2, 2, 2, 2, then just put, as I said before, just put it in. So I'll get on with that, and then I'll cut back once I'm done. That done. As I said, I had to undo these slightly to get it in. So I've got this in, and I'd go 2, 2, 2, 2, and then go 2, 2, 2, 2. There's one part which is just here. It feels flat this side, but you rub your hand on the other side, which is actually the part where the ball's going to live, where it touches the floor, and there is a bit of a bump compared to all the other sections. I'm not sure if it's the triangle or the circle panel itself. I'm not too worried. It'll sand flatter. But yeah, so that's that one done. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the other circle panels on here. Whereas I had to loosen these ones to get this in, I'm thinking I might have the same problem here. So actually, if I put the circle panels on these parts, at least they'll be screwed in here. And then when the top goes on, the kind of top sort of clips over like the rest of it, rather than trying to push it in. So I think that's probably the best way to go. And then these will get screwed in. Well, they'll get screwed in when they get the other bit gets put on. Just trying to level them out a bit. Some of them are quite tight. But yeah, so I'm going to put the other panels on. Two of them, and they'll be opposite, so say these two for argument's sake, will be the hatch panels, the other two will be white panels. I'll have to check my diagram again to work out which one's which. Obviously one of the hatch panels I'm going to hope, where I've got the missing screw threads, it's the top side that's missing. Yeah, I'm going to hope it's the top side that's where I don't have the screws yet, and not like this bit here. But anyway, yeah, I think I'll just dry fit the panels in, just see how they look, and then I'll go around and put the screws in, pretty much. Right, I've got two of the panels on. I just finally realised how the panels are named. So 6 back, 4 top, 1 front, 3 bottom. Realised that earlier, it might have made my life a little bit easier. Anyway, so this panel was easy to get on. Just took a bit of jiggling around. This panel, this screw here, it's just refusing to go in. It's gone in. I ended up rounding out one of the screws, but this side went in fine. That one went in fine. That one was in there. That one's a bit harder. That one's just almost impossible. So it's in, but it looks like the if I should spin around and show you, you can see here this bit here. It's kind of like I don't know. It's almost like it melted when it was going onto the print bed. So there's a bit of a gap there. I'm not too worried about it. I could just pass it off as damage. I'm just wondering how that affects the roll. It doesn't seem to. So effectively, this is the top. So on BB8, it would, it's really massive on BB8 because it's a sphere, but essentially that would be considered the top of BB8. So what I might do is build, when I come to build the other half, is actually build it like this. So have the four triangles, the circle panel which would be the bottom, and then the 2 hatch panels which would be either side here. So effectively all I do is then just slot it together like that. And what I do is just make sure that I put that the right orientation. And then it might be easier, rather than just having 4 triangles and a circle panel and then trying to remember which way round it go because all the circles are on here. That's my thinking anyway. The only other thing I'm wondering about is, let's find them. If I can find them. Had them not long ago. Oh, really? Is I've got these. These are the resin light panel pieces. So they go in like these holes here. So my concern is that I'm going to be painting this with a drive in it. Maybe, more than likely. I don't want to take this apart more times than I have to. Basically, I want to only take the patch panel off to be able to get to the power or programming port or whatever. I don't really want to have to take the board apart again until I need to replace the battery or replace the servo. So I'll probably end up painting it with the drive inside, which means where did I just put them? Which means these need to go in now. But if they go in now, chances are they could get ruined with the paint and the putty going on top. So the question is, do I just suck it and see, or I don't know. It's a tough one. And there's such good panels, there's such good prints as well. I don't want to ruin the prints. Zooming, that goes in there. It's supposed to sit flush. It goes in the other way. There's a bit of elephant's foot on the print, on the resin print, so that's only going. Is that proper square? Ah, so it follows the curve, so I need to make sure that the piece I put in follows that curve. And there was no curve on that piece, so essentially that bit will go in there. Just about to see the blue bit there. See it flashing as I move my finger back and forth between it. So regardless, that's going to need sanding out to allow that to fit, assuming that was the piece that went in there. Looks like it is, well, unless it might be the red one. Double check my designs. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing I need to think about, is do I paint it without the driving side so I can add these resin bits in later, or do I paint it with these resin bits attached and run the risk of ruining them? So that's the question. Yeah, I'll think about that one. Anyway, so until the other heat set inserts turn up, I can't do much. I'm also conscious about the fact that those are all the screws I've got left, and I've got to do this again. I don't think it's. I've just I just ruined one by rounding it out. So hopefully I've got enough. Might have to order some more of the button head screws in. Luckily, those are a bit easier to get hold of because they're metric. It just means if I do come to take it apart, I've got to remember that some of them will need the imperial screw, and the ones I ordered would use a metric screw, metric Allen key. The trials of a droid builder. Nothing ever fits together like it should. Incidentally, I'm thinking about the inside of here, and no, not that one. This one. So I bought this to go on my proton pack to make the textured part of the cyclotron and other parts. But textured anti-slip finish, impact resistant. I'm wondering if spraying the inside of here with that will give it a bit more grip on the ball for the wheels. So it might, I don't know, it might make traction a bit better. It might make it worse. I don't know. You'll notice I haven't actually done anything about the inside of these because I don't feel the need to. As long as it's structurally okay. Yeah, another thing to think about. Of course, it does mean if I spray it, I'm going to spray all over the screws. Something to bear in mind. Anyway, apart from, it's this side, isn't it? Apart from this edge here, I'm happy with that. It's fairly well balanced, which means the prints are printed, you know, there's not slightly more filament on this side than there is on this side. So, yeah, I'm happy with this. I've just got to wait for the heat set inserts now. Any day now. They're coming from America. Not McMaster-Carr. They're coming from DigiKey. And they look the same as the McMaster-Carr ones. So if they work, that will be a good source of the heat set inserts for UK builders. Because McMaster-Carr don't deliver to the UK or Europe or anywhere outside the US. So basically these could be a good solution for non-US builders to build the Vonjet. Right, so I thought I'd do a quick test of putting the drive in the ball while I'm, at this point. As you can see, on first glance, it looks great. The wheels are resting against the ball, and if I spin it around, but I won't do because I need two hands to do it. These are rubbing up against there quite nicely, and then I sort of put my hand under here, just under the batteries where the weights are, and they're resting on the ball itself, which isn't very helpful. That means basically the magnets are going to be the weights are going to be scraping across the bottom the entire time. I need this. This needs to be suspended very, very slightly off the bottom of the ball, which means I need to undo these little bolts here. There's one there. There's one over here somewhere. Two on the other side, and the same there. Yeah. So that's the problem I got at the moment. It's fiddly. Luckily, as you saw in the previous video, with me building the drive, removing the drive is fairly simple. It's just undoing this screw here, this nut. He says, doing it on camera, it's always going to go well. And then just lifting it off. There we go. So as you can see, the battery, well, it's definitely would have dropped down there even if it hadn't been, but it's scraping across the bottom. So I need to disconnect. I need to move these out slightly. I'm not quite sure how far. I could use some maths and work it out, or I could just take a guess. Doesn't need to be much. So the wheel was resting around about here. I need it roughly about here, so I need to go out about that much, roughly. I'll try it, see how we get on, and hopefully not knock any wires to pieces in the process. I've already knocked the speakers off there, so always a good start. But yeah, I'll get on with that. Right, so I've been playing around with that and widened it out by 1 circle effectively, and that's now bouncing on the wheels, which is what I wanted. Well, she's not bouncing on the whole wheel, it's bouncing right on the edge, but I think it's just the angle of the motor. I can't really get away with that really any other way. One thing I have noticed, if I grab one of the panels that goes on here, that's now in the way. So I'm going to have to adjust these two and either tilt them back a bit more if possible. I don't think that's possible, or tilt them forward and down so they're actually coming up about here. I should be able to get away with that. I might have a bit of a problem with the power connector in there, but we'll try. I think that's probably one to look at when I come to put the top of the ball on. But I've tested it. I'm happy that I haven't broken any of the connections. Just got to re-glue the speakers back on, and yeah, good to go. So I was having another look at Dave Alvarez's build of this, and he doesn't have these huge wheels. He has these smaller wheels, which means I don't need this bit. I need these bits, and probably have them about there-ish. So I'm going to take the bits off the wheels and have a quick look about mounting the smaller bits on the wheels. So all they do is need to stabilise the droid. They don't actually need to help drive it as such. So I'm going to give that a go. Oh, the other thing I noticed is that this is way too tall, so I need to drop this down. Probably here, drop this down here, and chop that off probably about there. But I'll come to that in a minute. There we go, I am more happy with that. Yeah, that looks much better. And just to test with the panels, with that panel that keeps falling off. There we go. That's more like how it should be. So yeah, happy with that. And I'm going to have a look at this now, because if the top's on, just imagine this is the top of the drone. That's too much. And I still got to put the halo piece on top, which would actually sit. That's going to screw into it, I guess. Actually, it might not. I might be able to use these locking clamps. So actually, it might be able to sit about here. Even so, it's still slightly too tall, I think. I do have a shorter piece cut before that I could use instead. But yeah, so I've got to finish building the other half of that. Right, I finally got the top half of this ball together. These two pieces were a nightmare to get together. I don't know why. Just along these edges here. The eagle eye among you may notice that I don't have two white triangles and I have a black and a white instead of originally it was two black. I reprinted both these triangles with this white and now ended up with one of each. That's the original black one I had, that's the new white one I had. That one that was white is the one that I tried the heating up and pushing the bars through, and it just moulded it created too much of a bump at these join marks here. So I ditched it, went back to the black one, found out that actually I could just get away with sanding it out. This one on the other hand, I did actually do the heating part, but after a lot of sanding there's a slight bump there, but not enough to worry about. You just about see it. It's nowhere near as bad as the other triangle was. So what I have to do now is the hatch panels I'm going to attach to this half of the ball, like that. So effectively I have a half like this and a half like that, and they should, these circles should pull this bit together, so these slot in. The only other thing I have to do is think about the resin light pieces. Also think about how I'm going to light those up, and I'm thinking, as it's Christmas, I could probably get hold of some flashy LED lights that just wrap around the frame of the droid, and they're flashing away inside, which flashes the resin, and that gives me my flashy lights. I still have to sort that out, as you can see now, with it being that far. There's about half a centimetre, maybe a centimetre gap. So that bar definitely needs cutting down or replacing with a shorter one. And then I should be okay. I also need to check the clearance on this, but once that's on, so probably I might no, I need to put these on to be able to get this down, so just makes it awkward. So maybe I'll take the hatch panels out afterwards so I can work in there. It's going to be tight to work in here because I'm going to have to do all these bolts here, the bolts around here, and around the top of there as well, and over there, and look at the hatch. There's two hatches each side, but it looks like I've got plenty of room here to work in. But essentially I'll only have this area to work in, so this outer orange ring will be still attached to the droid, so it's not quite as much room as you think. I mean, I can spin the droid around inside the ball to a degree, and yeah, so yeah, I could even roll him up and work down if needs be. So it's the Droid Builders Christmas Do next week, next Saturday. Today's it's the Tuesday before, 2 weeks before, and I was hoping to have him rolling. Yeah, I've still got the head to build. It's not looking likely that he'll have a working head, but I might have a droid that rolls around. Maybe. I'm not going to rush. If he's not ready, he's not ready. It would be nice if he was ready, but I don't want to rush. This is taking me 2 weeks just to get this together because of these panels. Looks like I might have to do some sanding here and here anyway. But it's just one of those things. So it just means he can't have his MOT, which means he might not be able to roll around at Celebration, unless I get him MOT'd in the meantime somehow. I still have to fix the speakers, which I knocked off, and I still haven't done a test of how it sounds with all the panels on. Will we be able to hear the sound through this plastic? I don't know, is the honest answer. I did have a thought about cutting those out, but honestly that's probably a lot of effort for not much gain. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for now, and then tomorrow I'm going to attach the hatch panels to the top edge here. This is actually the bottom, by the way. Okay. This is actually the bottom of the sphere, the bottom. yeah, I'm going to attach the hatch panels to this side and the other side, and then when it slots down, I'll be screwing this side in, and I need to screw these in at some point as well, but I can't do that until it's actually clipped together. So it's going to be a lot of acrobatics going on in there, but there's a lot more room to work in than the old Sphere, at least. So get in there, and oh no, shouldn't really do this. There's too many pieces, but so there's the neck, and yeah, that was a silly idea, wasn't it? I never really talked about the dome, but there we go. Hi BB8, welcome back. So the dome, the black is normal PLA plus, the white is lightweight PLA, so it's the same stuff I made Dio's head out of. Well, I've never actually shown you Dio, but the Michael Badley Dio, it uses lightweight PLA for the head, so it's incredibly light. This weighs virtually nothing. So it should mean that the magnetic force, the black is purely just add a bit more strength. So there's a bit of strength, a bit of rigidity, and then the lightness from the lightweight PLA. Yeah, so hopefully the lightness of the dome, even though it has electronics in there, will be enough for the magnetic force of both the halo ring, which that's the dome piece of the halo ring, that's the body piece of the halo ring. Hopefully that's enough to hold it in place when he tilts his head forward. Yeah, anyway, enough blabbering. Look at this tomorrow. Right, so as you can see, I'm not that far off. That's the frustrating thing. I missed. I knew I wasn't going to hit the deadline for the builders meet in Camberley early December, and I kind of lost heart after that. I kind of just went, oh, sod it, can't do it, give up, take a break, just leave it for Christmas. And to be fair, after Christmas, I could have picked up about 2 or 3 opportunities I could have picked up and done something with it, and I just haven't. And I keep getting told, 13 weeks to celebration, 12 weeks to celebration, 11 weeks to celebration. It's like, I know it's supposed to be motivating. So like, I've got 11 weeks to get it all done. So like, I've got 11 weeks to get it all done. I've got 11 weeks to get that finished. I'm fairly sure the drive's fine. All I've got to do is just cut down the pole which the the body magnetic mount sits on, so the ball can close. And I'm fairly sure that's done. I've got, I didn't show it on video, but I've got lights here that will go inside the ball, wound around the body, around the drive, that will light up, and they've got a flickering thing on them. Hang on. No, it's got a remote control, isn't it? It's got a flickering thing, and combine that with the resin things around the sphere for the lights that should be on there. I kind of get that flickering effect. I've got all that done. That's done. Dome lights are relatively simple. I've already got the code. I just need to put it onto a new nano or something and redo some new neopixels, and I'm done. But the problem is, it's January. It is freezing cold in here. I mean, admittedly, it's 7 o'clock at night. I'm filming this. It's freezing cold, but it's been raining. If it's not raining, it's cold, and it's not the right weather to be painting outside. I can only paint outside. It's not the right weather. I got a sand, I got spray putty, I got paint, and then I got to lacquer it as well, so it doesn't get chipped and damaged. And honestly, the time in celebrations is not helpful for people building. If they made it like August, that would be a bit easier, or July, because at least then I've got a few drier months in between. I'm just rambling and moaning now, but it's. I just realised my gunk has evaporated over the Christmas. Wonderful. It's. I'm going to try and get it done. I want to get it done. it's finding time to do it. I think at the minimum I'm going to be able to get a rolling ball with a head on top, magnetised with lights. Whether it's painted is another story. It just depends on the weather. It entirely depends on the weather. So yeah. So the next episode will be hopefully the rest of the ball being put together and rolling. May or may not include the head. I'm probably not going to do a video on the actual on the halo mount itself, because Dave Ferreira has done a really good video on that already. I'll just link to that. He already explains how to build it, what you need, and all this sort of stuff. There's no point doing it over again. But I will go over the dome and how the halo goes into the dome, and then the lights for it, and then obviously the Bluetooth connection that will be talking back into the body to say do specific light sequences. Yeah, so I just got to get on with it really. So I kind of get out of this non-building funk and then just get on with it. Yeah, better get on with it then, haven't I? Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.